All right, here we go. We got actually everything's all set and live. Here we are for our latest episode from the website VU broadcast, the live broadcast where we spend a lot of time talking about, let's face it, the stuff that's happened in different industries, and we talk about the reality of it as opposed to the nice shiny marketing sheen. Now, today's guest, we got a good one here. This is gonna be a lot of fun actually. So this is Amanda Hess, the owner of 3S Confidence. Amanda is she's a fashion stylist and confidence coach. Okay, so she helps people increase their confidence by changing what they wear, how they wear it, and how they think about their body. That we're going to look into. I like that. That's pretty cool. She has had the pleasure of dressing hundreds of people when she isn't rocking her confidence business. What she does is hangs out with her husband and two boys. That's really sweet. I got to give her that. And she's smiling here because it's kind of fun. So she's in the background listening. So without further ado, I'm going to pull Amanda in. Now, actually, before I do that, I just want to remind people here's what we do on the shows. We talk about the stuff in the industries that, things that exist that we may want to make a lot of these things that people do and make it real. Okay, none of the marketing sheen. We want to talk about the real stuff. So if you tune in on the live side of things, I want you to comment, ask your questions. Amanda's been prepped and ready to be answering any questions that come through. If you don't have anything, that's fine. And on the rebroadcast, we're going to have questions available too on the YouTube channel. You can post those there, and we'll try to get a hold of Amanda and get those things answered too. So I'm going to warn her now because she's coming in 3, 2, 1. And Amanda, you are officially part of the broadcast. How's it going?
I'm really doing well. Thank you for asking. How are you doing?
Doing not bad. It's been a long day, but that's okay. Normally, it's Dell and I that jump in on this. I should have warned everybody ahead of time. Dell's doing a trip to San Francisco tomorrow morning and decided that he needs sleep. Go figure. We've already got somebody actually in the lobby ready to maybe potentially talk as well. So that's kind of cool. So Amanda, tell me about 3S Confidence. What's your passion in that? Like, what got you into doing what you do?
Yeah, well, you know what? I have had the opportunity to be dressing people for a while now. I worked for a fashion company where ultimately I brought in racks of clothes and helped people with their style and getting dressed. And what I really found is that people have a lot of hang-ups, and there's a lot of body dysmorphia that exists within, I think, really and truly almost every single one of us.
Okay, and body dysmorphia. Go, give me the layman's terms there.
So basically having this exaggerated opinion about something about your body that somehow stands out in some negative way. And, for some people, it's the size of their butt, it's the size of their belly, it can be how tall or petite they are. There's like so many different ones. I've heard people tell me that they have T-Rex arms.
T-Rex arms. Okay.
I mean, I really and truly, I'll look at somebody and I think they're just so gloriously beautiful, honestly, male or female. I just think they look so great. And then they'll tell me, what's wrong with them. And there's a litany of things. And so what I really am passionate about doing is helping people see the beauty in themselves, and then ultimately being able to dress themselves in a way where they can really showcase that. Because if you get dressed every day and all you're trying to do is hide things about yourself, first of all, what that does to your psyche, I feel, is really damaging. And second of all, what it does for you with respect to how you present yourself to everyone else, it really diminishes you versus being able to say, this is really a great feature and one that I want to highlight. That's a totally different message, and everybody is able to do that.
That's got to be tough though, okay? Because like realistically, you're dealing with what kind of influence from, okay, you hear the classic, the media, the fashion magazines, Hollywood, and so forth. But it's true, you look at okay, let's look at the most recent. You look at the Marvel series. Okay, if you've ever followed along to see what kind of regimen that the actors and actresses have to go through to maintain the physique that they have for these movies, it's insane. Like I would get sick of chicken after week 3. After 3 days, forget week 3. But realistically, they have to put themselves through this unbelievable regimen to become who they end up becoming. And that's what we look at as our idols and our ideals. And how the heck do you deal with that?
Well, I think it's like a bigger issue, right? And I think what's
Hmm.
interesting is when people go to hire me, they always think that they're hiring me to take them shopping. And they want to pigeonhole me into, you're a personal shopper. And I mean, that's a part of what I do for sure. But honestly, there's a whole hell of a lot of coaching that goes on with respect to being realistic about your life and your body and your shape,
Hmm.
and recognizing too, right, that happiness is not achieved through this image that the media portrays for us. Like even those actors that are in those roles have, said it's completely ridiculous to think that looking like this makes me happy, because it doesn't. And so I think there's a bit of a bigger issue there, in that figuring out that happiness is an intrinsic thing, regardless of what you look like.
Hmm.
And there's a messaging that you have to tell yourself. Like I work with my clients and I ask them to look in the mirror and say, what's good about me today? What can I be grateful for? Gratefulness practice is something that a lot of people talk about. And the reason why it's talked about a lot is because it's really powerful, but it requires some effort
Right, right.
to look for those things that are good versus searching for what's bad, because you can find it. But
So is that so? What? So seriously, is that a human thing? Is that because of the influence that we have all around us? Like, where do you see that coming from?
I think that it is like a part of our culture for sure.
Hmm.
We have this idea that when we reach a certain weight, we're going to be satisfied. Or if we look like X, we're going to be happy. And I think that there is some messaging that we're given, like early on when we're kids, when we're watching TV, from our parents. And I mean, I can speak more from a woman's perspective, but I don't know how old I was the first time when my mom asked, do I look fat in this?
Hmm.
Right? And it becomes almost like acceptable language. And in fact, it's more acceptable to say, do I look fat in this? Or rather than, I think I look fantastic right now,
Right,
which
right.
is kind of crazy. Like you have to be so self-deprecating to be acceptable. And it's all about what other people think about you versus what you think about yourself. And I do think it's a huge issue that, is it magazines? Yeah, but it's more our friends. It's more the people
Okay.
we hang around, right?
So
It's,
is
when
it
you
is
get
it them?
together with people.
Okay, is it them saying things, or is it just what you believe their perception that they have is?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's a little
Okay.
bit about worrying about what other people think. And I
Hmm.
think it's a little bit about what other people are saying. So, like, when somebody that you see is pencil thin is like, oh, I look so fat in that picture, then, you can't help but think, if they're smaller than you, well, I must look even fatter because, oh my God, she's tiny. And there's this, progression of that thought. And I think that it's pretty universal around women. I don't know how much it's universal around men. I don't think you guys talk about your weight in that kind of way, but I know it's an issue nonetheless, because I have
Oh yeah.
heard a lack of confidence from men with respect to what they can wear, especially if they don't have that typical, GQ kind of look.
Right, right. Okay. I gotta ask you two questions here. Okay, one's going to be off topic ish, and then the other one come back in. First of all, like I said, we do have actually somebody who joined us in the lobby. Her name's Elizabeth. Elizabeth. I don't know who she is.
I
Um,
do.
do you? Would you
I
mind if we?
do.
Would you mind if we added Elizabeth to the conversation?
No,
Um,
please do.
why? Because finally, I'd love to get this. So she's been notified. She's coming in 3, 2, and 1, and she doesn't have a camera on. But Elizabeth, you're on. Just to let you know that you are here in the broadcast. In case you have anything to add to the conversation, please do. And she's watching. Is what it is. So Elizabeth is Elizabeth is the dark side right there.
Yeah, yeah. She's coming in from the east, so I know it's like 9:30 there.
Oh, awesome. Well, I'm gonna leave her here for a bit so she can join in if she wants. But so what say you brought in the idea of guys and how they don't think about their weight the same way and stuff. Now, something that was kind of coming across my mind as you're discussing the whether it be that the self-imposed views or ones with people around us and stuff. This is going to sound strange, but bear with me for a sec. Okay, so we're younger, okay, and when we're younger, we're invincible. We develop all of our ideas moving forward as far as what we're going to be, what we're going to do, how we're going to change the world, and so on and so forth. And I think that's where we establish the vision of who we are. Well, let's be real. When we're younger, our metabolism is flying like crazy. We're doing all this extra, right? And so our vision, do you think that it's potential that we are actually influenced by that initial vision that we started and where we stand at that particular point in life?
Yeah, you know what? I do think that that plays a role. I think that, maybe you had an ideal set out for yourself when you reached a certain age or a certain spot in your life, and you had
Hmm.
this idea of what you would look like. And maybe there are things for yourself that you're falling short that you feel like are within your control, right? Like, I think we feel like, the state of our body is within our control. And to a certain extent, it is, but there's a
Hmm.
lot of factors going on. Like when you're an adult and, you're in your 40s or in your 50s, like, my God, you've got a job and you've probably got a side hustle and you've got kids and you might have grandkids. And so I think that we have unrealistic expectations of where we should be.
So how are we going to change that? Because I think you nailed something there. You're talking about it as you get older, right? Realistically, when I was like in my, as a kid, in my teens, in my early 20s, I looked at people that were 50 and said, wow, they're old and they must know everything, right? And
Yeah.
and straight up, I'm there now and I don't know everything. I'm not even close to it.
Yeah, no, we don't know everything at all. And
No,
I
no.
think it'd be nice if we did, though. I mean, that would be awesome. I would
Right.
enjoy like knowing it all. I sort of sometimes still feel at 43, like, so when I'm a grown up, I will know what to do, right?
That's right.
And then I realized my child is closer to 18 than I am. So by like a
Oh my
lot.
goodness. Oh
So
wow.
by like a lot. Um, I don't even really remember what the question was, but I think more to the point of,
I'm thinking that we potentially develop some of these notions about who we're going to be based on where we are at that particular point in time. And if we're forming a lot of our lives as we're younger, we maybe see everything through those young eyes, including how we look and how we feel and how we stand up. Like I was I'll be quite frank, I was a skinny bone rack from like high school on till I was about, I don't know, 40, not almost 40. Yeah. 128 pounds is ridiculous. Um, but in that, that's how I see things, right? And even now, to this day, I'm getting ready. That's what's in my head, and then I look in the mirror and go, "Oh, nope, not quite."
yeah, you know what? I think it's a little bit of that, but I think it's also a little bit of not knowing what to do. I think what ends up happening is we go shopping, let's say, and we go into the mall. And I don't really feel like most stores are set up for our age demographic a
Mhm.
lot of the time, right? And so either it's really, really young, and I mean, that's an unrealistic way to dress for most people,
Yeah.
or it's really, really old and it's, difficult to find the middle. Like, where's the middle? Like, where do I get to dress feeling age appropriate, but at the same time feel like I have some style and I have some swagger and I like have, this is me and I feel like I'm bringing myself to my look. And I think that
Mm.
we don't get any education on that, because where do you go to find that kind of inspiration? I mean, if you go into magazines, it's all very young.
Oh, totally.
Or very old, like depending on where you look, or totally unrealistic. I mean, who the hell is going to ever wear some of the things you see in magazines, right? And then,
All very
maybe
true.
you look and you go to a higher end store and you're like, well, why am I spending, $500 for this piece when I could buy it for 100? And what's the
Right.
difference? And I think that it's really difficult to navigate that sometimes. It's really difficult to find that information and really understand how to go through that. I think it takes a lot of time,
Mhm.
and a lot of people don't have a lot of time. And then also, I heard something just today. I was speaking to a friend of mine who was telling me that she had a friend that hadn't gone to the dentist in like 3 years.
Okay.
And when she went to this coaching program, or maybe it was longer, it doesn't matter though. She went to this coaching program and the coach was like, why haven't you gone to the dentist? And she said, I just didn't really think that I was worth it. And I have to
Oh wow.
say,
Wow.
I see a lot of people feeling like they're not worth spending the money or the time on their appearance because of so many complicated issues, how they were raised, what their parenting situation was like, what their friend's situation was like in school, and they just don't feel worth spending that time and money. It doesn't feel like it has value for them.
Mm-hmm. That's horrible. Really, that's wow. Okay, so you're dealing with people then, not because you mentioned there on the confidence coach, coaching side of things. How much of your time do you end up putting in getting people past some of those hurdles? Like that's some big stuff.
You know what? It's a lot. In all honesty, it's a lot of what I'm doing. And a lot of times people don't realize that's what we're doing. So when I'm working with a client, I often go, well, what I really try to do is get on the phone with them first and really just sort of establish what's happening, and get to the deeper part of what's going on and why it hasn't been addressed and what they're buying and why they're buying it. And then when I go into their closet, which is always my next step, it's ultimately, and it's an opportunity for me to get to know them and see what they feel confident in and what they don't. And a lot of times it's a lot of me reinforcing, saying, hey, that looks awesome on you. And you know what? We're going to do this. We're going to tuck this shirt in like this. We're going to add this belt. And I'll say, like, a feature that I know looks great. Like, you have a really small waist. We want to highlight that. You have a really beautiful face. Let's get some color up in your face. Like, different things like that they just don't even realize. It sounds like style. It is style. But at the same time, it's confidence. It's somebody saying to you, you look really great in this. This looks amazing on you because, and, them being able to step into that vision. I had a coach once who told me when I go into my business that I should always live every day like I have the business of my dreams. So whatever my, big, hairy, audacious goal is, like, I'm making $10 million. How do I step into that and be that person tomorrow? Like, be that person right now. And that's, I think, part of it with my clients is saying, you're beautiful right now. Like, you don't need to lose 10 pounds. You don't need to lose, 10 years. Nothing has to change here. And so, confidence coaching, I do it in that environment. And then I do a coaching call. I do coaching calls with my clients where we just really dig into, like, some body image issues and what's happening during their day and what's showing up for them so that they can start delivering different messages to themselves. Because, you had your coach on last time and I watched that. It was awesome. But there are physical pathways in your brain, right?
Yeah,
there are actual physical pathways, and you can change those by changing physically the way that you think. And it's a messed up kind of weird way of thinking about it. But the true story is if you think things on purpose, you'll start automatically thinking them. But think about 43 years of thinking my butt looks big. It's going to take some work to not make that an automatic pathway.
100%. No, that's pretty. So, okay, I love that, and thanks for bringing up Adrian. We were actually talking earlier today, and he was looking forward to seeing some stuff. I know he's already liked the broadcast today, so that's really cool. Awesome. He may be watching. Just saying. No, he's a good guy, but I think one thing where you and he have some very very similar, I guess, focuses are that bringing people into the power of who they are, whatever that may be. I think that's huge because, back to the influence that we have through society and through, movies and media and so on and so forth. I think we gear and angle our own personal expectations based on the real shallow view that we sometimes get. As you say, we're seeing the, if I get to this weight, I'm going to be happy and stuff. If I make this much money, I'm going to be doing well. I personally, I'll tell you right now, I disagree. No. But do you see that changing? I guess is what I think, because you're dealing with this on the front line with people, one-to-one. Do you see that in society we're starting to see some changes happening, that we've got some, light at the end of the tunnel, or some things on the horizon that we can start looking forward to?
I see a small movement. I see people really leaning into people showing up authentically. Like, I follow a few people on Instagram. One that comes to mind is the Birds Papaya. She's great, and she talks about body positivity. I believe she's Canadian. And so there's like Ashley Graham, who is, a plus size model who really has been promoting like plus size high-end fashion. Because that's not been a thing in the past. It's something that plus size girls have never really been able to access. What I would say is there's a movement, but I don't know that we've come so far as a society with respect to that. There's a movement. I see some of that, but yet there's still the weight loss industry is thriving because, and it's so dysfunctional, but it's thriving because of people's lack of self-worth, right? And an inability to like lean into that. I don't know. It's a really complicated question, but I don't know that we've come far enough. I know we haven't come far enough, but we're getting there. There's people like pushing into that movement. People are leaning into it.
Okay, well, that's good. Good to hear something's happening there. Okay, well, because you've got to look at things. Like this past weekend we had the Pride Parade, and you're seeing some sort of change in attitude. At least I like to believe that is happening. Sadly enough, I had a lot of people that are protesting and things as well. But I like to think that we're all starting to at least find a spot where we're becoming more happy with us as where we're at.
I think it's an internal thing. Like, honestly, if I was to say, what is the number one thing from holding people back from being okay with how they look? It's their own limiting self-beliefs. Like 100%, you limit yourself. And, it's really tough to find. I think I was really blessed to find coaching and therapy early enough that I was able to, work through a lot of that, but I'm still not perfect. And I think also people expect perfection from themselves. Like it should always be perfect, and it's never perfect. It's always like this, and that's okay.
So you've dealt with some of this stuff yourself then, if you don't mind me prying a little bit, right?
Of course. Yeah. I think we all do like have self-image issues. I remember when I was in high school, I had really bad acne, like really, really bad acne. And I remember going to bed and like praying. I'm like, I don't care if I'm fat. I don't care if I'm ugly. I just don't want acne anymore. Because I thought that if I just didn't have the acne, it would be all better. But, I went to university, still wasn't gone, went on Accutane. I don't promote it, but it did work for me. And I was on it for like 2 years and it got rid of my acne. And then I just focused on other issues, like, how fat I was in university, which is so funny because I wasn't fat at all. So I think that there's always something that you can consider like not good enough about yourself. And where the real beauty lies is being able to be really fully in love with yourself. And then, you're happy. And then when it comes to like getting dressed, you don't have to perfectly be there. But I will say this. I see this like all the time, and it drives me bananas, is people saying to me, Amanda, I'd really love to work with you, or I'd really like to buy that thing, but I'm going to lose this weight first.
Oh, really?
And, my question is like, why don't you deserve it now?
Yeah.
Like you only deserve it if you're 20 pounds lighter, or I don't understand. That makes no sense to me, but it's a thing.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. Got one here. Rob Kirkham is here. How's that, eh? And he would like to ask a question. Rob, absolutely. If you got a question, please forward it up there. I'll get it up here on the screen, and Amanda can take a look at it and answer that. But as we're kind of going there, you're right. We all deal with some things where we kind of see that we're not perfect. I've got this extra little bump on my chin that drives me insane. Okay.
I've never noticed it.
It's right here. Oh, well, it's funny. I usually have my goatee, right?
Yeah.
But the funny thing was, I don't usually notice it either. And what happened was I was doing some video work the other day, and I'm there doing the video. And as I'm doing it, I went, oh my goodness, look at that. As I'm doing the editing, right? So there I do, and that's hour-long webinar. I'm like, oh, I got this bump on my chin, and I thought, Greg, it's you. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Don't be so concerned. We have the ideals, and I don't know. Like sometimes I wonder if we're born with this. It just kind of comes in because we do have this natural attraction to certain things in others. Often, because of what I do in the marketing side, I do kind of studies or pay attention to studies to see what is it that people get attracted to and get tied to or whatever. One of the things being the I guess symmetry in the face, and how you can see there's certain that perfection on either side is a very big I guess it's an attractive point. It draws people in. Then there's the but I find also, for instance, that what do we say on the art side? If you have, what was it, your eyes are basically evenly spaced. You have an eye here, and the same space here, same space here. when people have it just a little bit wider or a little bit thinner, I find that attractive. I think that's neat because it's not perfect. Am I weird?
No, because think about it. Like, think about the fact, like somebody like Beyonce, who made having a big butt a
Hmm.
stylish and, big thing, or like J-Lo, right? Like
Right.
before that, having a big butt was not like really considered a good thing. And,
But
now
that
it
was
is,
Western culture too. Okay,
right?
in Europe, it's different.
Yeah, it is different from culture to culture. And like, but what I would say is that if you can embrace your uniqueness and find
Hmm.
your beauty, that is where the magic is. And
Right.
guy or girl, like when I say beauty, guys can be beautiful too, but find what you really like about yourself and like promote that and make that your thing. You're golden. And especially if you really truly believe it, like you believe this is like your best asset,
Hmm.
it trumps all. And then you highlight these good things, right? And then
Yeah.
you wear color and you wear pattern, and you just wear different things because you don't need to look like everybody else, because that's not the goal anymore.
Okay, and Rob's got his question here, and it's interesting. I gotta say it's an interesting question. I'm gonna pop it up in a sec because it kind of leans where you're talking about adding the different things. You're talking about accessorizing, so on and so forth, right? And he's got here, and sure, this kind of applies to a certain extent. I think this is neat. Rob's cool. I like that. But yeah, because is that not part of how we address ourselves, if you will?
100%. Like, you know, I like to surround myself with things that I personally find appealing. Like right
Hmm.
now, I have essential oils in my office because for me, that's calming and it makes me feel good.
Hmm.
Right. Do I have a favorite fragrance? I actually do. I like Chanel Coco Mademoiselle is my favorite. But that's for me. And you know what's cool about perfume too and fragrances is they all smell different on different people, which I think is
Yes.
fascinating because it interacts with your body chemistry. But 100%, like your personal grooming, how you do your hair.
Mhm.
I was saying to somebody today, we had somebody come visit us at our BNI chapter, and he was really well dressed, and it was noticeable right away. And he
Hmm.
had cufflinks, and I mean, like cufflinks don't have to be super expensive, but his shirt fit well, his jacket fit well, and like it's noticeable. Like small little details are the things that elevate you. And
Yeah.
they just really work. And, it's realizing that it's not about hiding things so much as it is about bringing in those small details that are a little bit more like you. And that is what's really going to make you feel good and you feel confident.
Yeah, the feel
Yeah.
good. I like that. I got a personal philosophy that pretty much if I'm not feeling good at any given day, I'm like, you know what? Then dress really nice. Bring yourself up
Yes.
again. Elevate it a bit, right?
Yeah. It's like, don't put on your sweatpants and call it a day and go back to bed. Like,
Right.
put on your best, like, outfit
Mhm.
and do your hair and brush your teeth and start your day like that. And you're going to feel better right away. It's true.
Yeah.
And people will say to me, confidence is internal. And I'm like, I agree. Confidence is internal, but there are external things as well that, what am I trying to say? Complement that.
Hmm.
And, how you think about yourself isn't linear. It isn't like, oh, it all starts on the inside and goes to the outside. It doesn't work like that. Like you are being affected by the things you see, smell, feel, think. Like all these things are happening to you and it all affects you. So when you look in the mirror, do you like what you see? And
Right.
if not, then, there needs to be some work put in there.
So you really work with people not just not on the outward appearance and stuff, but you're working though on the personal, I guess, on the life coaching and almost, if you will, if you're talking to business people on the business coaching side. Really, or you at least bridge over into that. Because realistically, I think business owners who are extremely confident in what they do, and I don't mean egotistical by all means,
Yeah.
but know their stuff and they have no problem standing in it and owning it. Would you say, in your experience, that those are ones that are more confident in themselves as far as how they dress and stuff as well?
Yeah, I would say so. I think that when you feel really confident, it shows up everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're a business owner and you're really confident, you probably are already on the right track. And maybe you need a few small tweaks to like bring that up a notch just because it's a lack of knowledge versus like a lack of self-confidence, right? But if you're really lacking in self-confidence, you're going to see it everywhere. You're going to see it in your relationship. You're going to see it in your business. You're going to see it in your own, personal life. Like, are you going home and turning on Netflix and calling it a day every night? Like, maybe there's something going on there, right? And so it is very interwoven. And, I'm like happy to shop with people, but I do address a lot of mindset because I get a lot of weird things that pop up. I had one client and she bought $300 pants. And then she said to me that she was going to return them. And I was like, why are you going to return them?
Wow.
Like, we had such a hard time finding pants that fit you, and they're awesome. They're beautiful pants. And she said that, she just wasn't sure where she'd ever wear them, and they were a lot of money. And so we just had to really address, like, why do you feel that you're not worth those pants? Right? She's a successful lady. She's a successful lady. Like, there's no reason why she can't have them, but she didn't feel like she could wear them because they were so much money.
And could that have been, and I'll tell you right now, this relates to a personal thing on this, but do you think that could relate to where she's come from her past up to now? Is that potential? Okay.
I think people have their money stories, right?
Oh, geez, yeah.
Their parents and how they were raised and what it was like.
Oh, totally. Okay, raised by a single mom, struggling through everything. I remember going out actually this time last year, going and saying, okay, so that's when I had to go and do that the speaking in Thailand, right? So I'm like, I need something. I'm gonna elevate myself a little bit. Went out and got some stuff. Thankfully now I don't remember how much I spent, but I spent it and I came home and I'm like, I can't believe I just spent that much money on clothes. Then I went, okay, Greg, but why are you doing that? Who are you going to be in front of? What kind of perception do you want to give or for them to take away? And it helped after a bit, but now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I did spend a lot of money. I've gotten good use out of it.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll talk to my clients about cost per wear. I'll be like, listen, like, you can buy 6 pairs of jeans and none of them fit you that great. And you wear them and you don't really like them, but they're fine. Or you can buy 1 pair of jeans that costs as much as all 6 of those jeans put together. Mm-hmm. And you love them. They feel amazing. You feel like a rock star every time you walk out the door, and you wear them every time you wear jeans. Now, how many people notice that you're wearing the same pair of jeans? Nobody notices. Nobody cares what your jeans are unless they're like all bedazzled or something, and then they're going to notice. But like, honestly, cost per wear is a thing. Like, this is an investment, and you're investing in yourself.
Totally. Thanks, Sandra. I appreciate the comment there. Awesome. That's too funny. But yeah, that's a good point. So like, how often you mentioned you get this person who had the $300 pair of jeans and want to take them back because when are they going to wear them and that. What do you say to people who are going to the closet? They've got jeans, clothes, dresses, whatever, suits, shoes, accessories that they're going, okay, you know what? I love this, can't put it. I just haven't wear it. Why? And what are the excuses? I haven't had a good occasion to do so. Okay, I've done that with wines. Okay, we buy wines, we have them in our cellar, and we go, we're waiting for a special occasion. Wednesday can be a special occasion, right?
Yes, Wednesday can be a special occasion. Yeah, I get that too. I do get that. Like, I need a special occasion to wear it, or that's too fancy for my everyday life. And I think there is an inability to understand how you can dress high-low in your life, and you can wear something that's a little bit more high-end and dress it down. And there's a skill to that for sure, and just kind of feeling it out. And there's ways you can style things to make them look a little bit less formal. When I go into somebody's closet though, and they have a lot of stuff, we're taking a lot of stuff out. I mean, I'm telling you,
you just scared a lot of people right there. In
a very kind and loving way. We just start really going through it. And I ask, like, what do you like about this piece? Do you love it? Mm-hmm. And if the answer is no, and I don't love it, and I don't see it serving a purpose in your wardrobe, I'm going to ask your permission to take it out. Like, I'm very nice when I come into your closet, and I recognize that it's an intimate thing. It's an intimate thing for you to bring me into your bedroom and into your closet and then for me to judge what you put on your body, like that's vulnerable. And
That's extremely vulnerable. Wow.
so for that to happen, I need to be really respectful. And I always am. I have one client, I love her to death. She took all these things out and then she told me the next day that she put half of them back in. I'm like, oh my God.
Wow. So you don't walk out with them then, you give them that option.
Well, it's their closet, right?
I suppose.
I can't make you stop. But what I would say is that I see a lot of people with way too many clothes, and they just don't have outfits. And I'm like, my passion is let's get you outfits and let's get you less clothes, because you don't need to open up your closet and be overwhelmed every day. That's exhausting. And then just to look in your closet and be like, what am I looking at here? And what am I going to wear today? And you've got, 25 dress shirts and 12 pairs of pants. And how are you supposed to navigate that? You haven't even had a cup of coffee yet. And so, it's having less clutter and less stuff. And I think that we get very, comfortable with stuff, or people will tell me when they have a closet full of clothes that don't fit, well, if you take all my clothes, I won't have any clothes to wear. And I'm like, but you don't wear them because they don't fit you.
Okay, I got to be honest. Okay, I this past week, I'm looking through my closet. I thought about you coming on the show, and I went, I should take a look here so I can relate to some of the things she's going to be talking about. And I probably looked at half the closet at least and said, I don't wear this anymore. And of that, at least 3/4, I went, I've outgrown those. We want to get right serious about it. And I don't think it's necessary. I know I need to work out a little bit, but I'm okay. You know what I mean? And it's a health thing, not a perception thing. I guess there's something you got to deal with too, right? Because you're not just dealing with perception, but there is health issues. Do you have to, and do you bring those up when you're talking to clients?
You know what? I don't really feel it's my place to talk about that. That's sort of not my space. Right. If they want to talk about it, we can talk about some healthy alternatives that they could implement for sure. But I really don't believe in hating yourself skinny. And I think the first step is loving yourself. And I think that you will actually, if you want to lose weight, the best thing you could do is invest in a few pieces that fit you really well right now. And the reason why I think that is because then when you look in the mirror, or when you sit down in something, or you're at a meeting, you're not like, that feels tight, that feels uncomfortable. And then you start going into this place of self-deprecation, right? Yeah. Versus wearing things that look good, you feel good, then you're more likely, I feel, to make healthy choices, because you're not already beating on yourself all day long.
Right. And that's, it's all too common. I know. I think it's a daily thing. We always hear somebody that's saying, I don't look good in this, and this doesn't quite, I feel fat. I feel whatever. Right. And And I will say, and in all honesty, this is neat because you and I, we end up seeing each other once a week at the business meeting that we're involved in, and I will say to anyone watching here, Amanda dresses very nicely, but it's not what you do. But it's not a over the top. I'm going to be like a super formal or whatever. It's very comfortable, and but it looks good, and I think that's huge. I'll be honest. I used to get good compliments on what I wore, and I don't anymore. So I think you've killed that for me.
You look really good.
I'm kidding. Totally kidding.
No, you know what? You
You
dress well every week, and I think sometimes people do think, like, especially in a business environment, and when they're maybe starting their own business or whatever it is that they're doing, that there's two types of dress that you have to have formal and you have to have casual, and there's no middle. And I don't believe that at all. I think business casual has really, come into play in a major way for most people. And there's very few environments where you're wearing like a full suit all the time. And so having that business casual wardrobe is going to be so much more effective for you, because you can easily elevate that, or you can easily pare it back and make it way more casual. And I think that there's beauty in having a wardrobe that does that for you, because you don't have two sides: work, casual, no middle.
Right. Okay. So based on that, so do you then yourself work more with business professionals, or anybody? Who is your focus as far as like the kind of people that you like to help?
You know what? I like to help anyone that's looking for help, to be honest with you. I've worked, mainly I've worked with business professionals, especially people that are just, really busy and they just don't have the time or they just don't have the experience to really figure it out. A lot of times it's a lack of time, but I would hazard a guess that most people too, it's a lack of knowing really what to do and putting it all together at one time. Like I always, when I'm talking to people about their typical experience about when they go shopping, this is what I see and this is what I've experienced myself. So I really get it. You walk into a store. Well, first you walk into the mall, and the mall itself is incredibly overwhelming. So there's all these people and all these stores, and you're like, oh my God, okay. I'm going to go into this store. The window looks okay. And then, you pull a couple things that maybe you're on the mannequin or you're like, yeah, that looks good. I think this is my size. And then you go into the change room and you put it on. And then you're like, it doesn't really fit, or I don't really like it. And now you're going to have to get fully dressed in your regular clothes to leave the change room and then potentially walk around some more and look at some more clothes, and you don't have any idea. And by the end of that experience, you come home and you're overwhelmed, defeated, and you hate shopping. Like you hate it.
Yep.
And that's all you think. And so the next time you got to go shopping, you're like, no, thanks. I hate shopping. Like it sucks. And, my clients are always really surprised. Like, what I really recommend for people, and, if you're not working with a stylist, is pull way more. So like pull a couple sizes, first of all, because you don't know what size you are in that store, and you could be anywhere from 2 sizes up to 2 sizes down. You just don't know.
That drives me crazy. I just got to throw that in there. Okay, and why? Because I used to hear that with women's clothing all the time. Is I'll be a 2 in this, and I'm a 4 and a 6 here, and I'm like, I don't understand. First of all, so I'm like, I'm a guy, I don't get it. And I will say that more recently, I have experienced some of the same things, and I went, okay, whoa, what is going on here? I don't get this. It's not universal. Or are there games being played? Like, seriously?
I don't think it's as universal as we think it is. No, I think that it's dependent on the brand. So It depends on the brand with respect to the sizing. So like there'll usually be a sizing chart if you order online, and it'll vary from brand to brand. I know that the clothing company that I used to sell for had a fit model, and they designed all of their clothes for their fit model, who was their size 8. And then they would size up or size down from there. And so, it's just, if you're not we can't get proportion size 8, then it's not going to fit you the same. So even though the sizing might be the same, if the cut's different, it'll fit you different.
So that's something that it totally does. So that's something we need to take into consideration as we're going in, is that, things are not regulated and done exactly, like ABC throughout everything. Therefore, don't get all freaked out that you're not a size, whatever that may be.
Yeah, size doesn't matter. Honestly, I know that people.
Okay, I'm a guy. Can you say that again?
Size doesn't matter. But really and truly, like, I just think, like, if you can just get past what size it is and just be like, I don't like how this is fitting me and I need to size up, you're good to go, because it is all about fit, and fit is like everything when it comes to style. Like, if you want to look really well, your clothes really need to fit you well.
Right.
And, when you're shopping, that's why I'm like, literally go into a store like Nordstrom, because you're going to get great service at Nordstrom, and go and pull a lot, like couple sizes of everything, and shop in outfits. Like this shirt with this skirt, or these pants and this jacket all go together. So I'm going to pull a couple sizes in those, and this shirt also goes, because that's how I pull from my clients. And then I have a closet or a dressing room full of pieces. So then you can try these things on, and then, you can hand them back, the things that aren't working for you. And you might still only get 3 pieces, but you'll probably get 3 pieces you like a lot better than if you just brought 3 pieces in with you.
Good. That's a really good way of looking at it. I like that. Okay. I have, I kind of had 2 more things I want to cover before we get to wrapping everything up. And of course, you got me. That was really good. Rob's got a really good question. I can throw that in. Sorry, did I miss one part? Do you help men too?
I do actually.
Nice. Good
Yes,
question.
absolutely. I love working with men. It's a totally different experience. And at the same time, like I think guys really struggle with like, how do I put some color in here? And what does look appropriate? And like, does this jacket look okay, or is it too big, or are the sleeves
Oh
long
yeah,
enough
I've
or
seen so
not?
many
Like,
guys
who knows?
wearing jackets that are way too big for them
Oh yes, that's
because we don't
huge.
know, plain and simple.
Yeah, and for guys, girls too, actually, though, it's all about your shoulders, right? It's got to fit
Hmm.
through your shoulders.
Yeah.
And so, if you buy something that's like out to here, it just looks sloppy, right? But then if you wear something way too tight, like also does not look fantastic. So, yeah, I do help men.
Good news, Rob. Just saying. Sandra's got a good question there too. Do you only work with one-on-one clients, or do you speak to groups on this topic? Excellent question.
Yeah, it is a great question. I do actually do both. So I do one-on-ones for
Hmm.
sure. And then I do group presentations as well. So I've done lunch and learns. I've actually done full fashion shows for people. So yeah, I love working in a group environment, and I can speak to a lot of different topics. For instance, dressing appropriately in the workplace. I've done that
Hmm.
presentation. I've also done dressing for your body type or increasing the outfits in your closet.
Nice. So, okay, just you mentioned doing fashion shows, or how's that? Is that like a specific type of fashion show? Are you talking like overall? Well, what kind of? I'm just curious. What kind of things have you done there?
Yeah. Well, the fashion shows that I did in the past were with the fashion brand that I represented.
Hmm.
So, really it's just putting looks on the runway and showing different ways to wear different pieces. I really love to be able to showcase how one jacket can be worn 6 different ways, and how you can cuff a pair of pants and change, your look entirely. Just showing like the different ways you can style and piece things together and just add your own flair to what you're wearing. So, yeah, that's really what I've done in the past.
Very, very cool. Okay, I like that. The latest comment, just because, okay, I've got to do this one, just so you're aware. It's a friend of mine who has come on several times in the past, and he says, "Hello, buddy," and I never respond or say anything to him. So I just wanted to say hi to Dale. Okay.
Hi,
now,
Dale.
now, Dale is a fellow entertainer. He's got quite the interesting wardrobe. I think you would get a kick out of going through his closet. But
Well,
anyway,
I saw that he was Santa there, so.
that is correct. Well, he's got some good stuff there. That's like awesome. So I love it, Amanda. This has been awesome, but I would like to kind of wrap things with one question for you here,
Okay.
because we try to go about 45 minutes to an hour, and we've hit the 45. So well done. The question being, okay, what would you say for all the experiences you've had? I would love to hear what's been your most rewarding experience through all the people that you've helped.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Because I'm
You
sure
know,
it's been good with a lot of people and doing a lot of things there. From what you're saying, I can only imagine how many people you've done some amazing things for.
yeah, I'd say the most rewarding thing, I can't think of a specific person per se, but I can,
Mm.
I can say what's most rewarding for me is when I tell somebody that they look beautiful and I can see that they've received it for the very first time from somebody
Wow.
that's not their mom or their best friend or their spouse, right? It's somebody,
Hmm.
and it's like, that looks really beautiful on you. And you can see, what I love is when we start putting things together and we start, getting things in their closet that work for them. And I'm like, can you see how awesome that looks on you? And they're like, yeah, I can. And you can see this like real blossoming take
Yeah.
place where they really are stepping into themselves and saying, yeah, you know what? I look fantastic. And that to me, like, that's everything, like, honestly,
Yeah.
because everybody should feel that way all the time. Really.
I agree. And you know what? Maybe there is a little bit to add with that, because you just brought up just something you said there made me think of something that I have had to, and not had to, something that I've been able to deliver to clients when working with them, and when I'm talking about some of their marketing stuff and how they should portray themselves, or at least have themselves shown more, and getting onto their website, for instance, and saying, you're a very attractive person, whether it be male or female. You should be embracing that and putting that all over the things you do, because business is a relational thing. People need to know who they're dealing with, and you're a good person. You're a great person to deal with. You look great, and
Yeah.
seeing that look in their face, so they go, wow, really? again, male, female, they kind of do that response. So that makes me think that I think there's something that we can all do in all of our interactions to probably bring that and maybe help support each other and bring everybody up and maybe break some of these social cliches that we may have and understanding that we're good at the way we are. So yeah, wow.
I totally agree. I think that's great. You know what? I think the more that you can love the people up around you, the better off we're all going to be. And especially the cranky ones, love them up the most. They need it.
that was me Monday, but that's because Sunday was a long party. All right, so
yeah.
Too much. Well, thanks. I've been told by my buddy I look great. I appreciate it, man. Amanda, thank you so much. This has been awesome having you on here. I just want to remind everybody that if you're watching this, whether it be the live one here because there's some people here, or if you're checking the rebroadcast on our YouTube channel, 3sconfidence.com. That's where you find Amanda, and to get more information on what she can maybe do for you and your organization. That's a good one. And where do you find those videos? Websitevu.com. That's where we had the replays, and my buddy saying, yeah, he just had to. That's just him. All right. So oh my goodness, Amanda, thank you so much. This has been awesome. We will talk again, I am sure, and we'll make sure that you got a link to that broadcast, and you can maybe get some people out to that and check it out too.
Awesome. Thanks, Greg. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Have a great night, Amanda.
You too. Bye.
Okay, see you. Okay, so as we're wrapping things up here, I just want to remind everybody here that if you want to go and check out some of the rebroadcasts here, there's Bob Dixon's coming in. Hey, Bob. If you want to come check some of the rebroadcasts that, or I guess the recordings of the broadcast previously, go to the website VU website. Yeah, the website VU website. That's nice. Check out there. We got a link to the YouTube channel from there. You can also get on there, and you should be a guest as well. I want you to come check it out. There is a form for you to fill out to apply for being a guest. We've got openings coming up. We do this every other Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time, and that's 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 in Ontario, and what's that? Central? Yeah. Anyway, so check it out. It's been good, guys. Thank you. Hope you all have a good night, and hey, enjoy, guys. Take care.